A homeless black man was sitting under a bridge one cold evening, shivering in the chilly wind. His clothes were old and torn, and his stomach growled with hunger. He hadn't eaten for a whole day and wasn't sure where he would find food next. Life had been hard on him. Every day was a struggle for survival, and every night felt colder and lonelier. As he sat there with his hands tucked into his pockets, hoping for the night to pass quickly, something shiny caught his eye. Just a few steps away from him, lying on the ground, was a leather wallet. It looked old, but still in good condition. Out of curiosity, he stood up, walked over to it, and picked it up. He opened the wallet slowly, unsure of what to expect. To his surprise, the wallet was stuffed with cash. There were a lot of bills, probably hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. His heart began to race. This was more money than he had seen in a long time. For a moment, his mind was flooded with thoughts. This money could change everything, he thought. I could buy food, warm clothes, maybe even rent a room for a night or two. The possibilities were endless. He could finally escape the streets, at least for a while. But as he sat down and stared at the wallet, something inside him started to nag at his heart. "This isn't your money," a small voice inside whispered. He flipped through the wallet and found a few cards inside. One of them was a driver's license with the picture of a middle-aged man on it. Next to the picture was the man's name and address. The homeless man stared at the license for a long time. He thought about what he should do next. Part of him wanted to keep the money. No one would know. After all, life had never been kind to him, and now fate had thrown him a lifeline. But another part of him knew that the money belonged to someone else, someone who might need it just as badly. He thought about his own life. If I lost my last bit of hope, wouldn't I want someone to help me? The thought stayed with him, and slowly he made up his mind. The next morning, he asked a few strangers for directions to the address on the driver's license. After walking for miles, he finally found the building where the wallet's owner lived. It was a big house, and the man felt nervous standing in front of it. His clothes were dirty, and he didn't know how people would react to him showing up like this. But he took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. A few moments later, a man opened the door. It was the same man from the photo on the license. He looked at the homeless man with confusion, wondering why someone like him was standing at his doorstep. Good morning, sir," the homeless man said, his voice soft and hesitant. "I found this wallet last night. It belongs to you." He held out the wallet with both hands. The man at the door stared in disbelief. He took the wallet, quickly opening it to check the contents. Everything was there: his cash, cards, and personal belongings. "You brought it back?" the man asked, still shocked. "All the money? You didn't take anything?" The homeless man shook his head. "It's not mine," he said quietly. "I knew you would need it." The man at the door was silent for a moment, processing what had just happened. Then a warm smile spread across his face. "Thank you," he said. "You have no idea how much this means to me." The homeless man gave a small nod, ready to leave. He didn't expect anything in return. He had only done what he felt was right. But as he turned to walk away, the man stopped him. "Wait," the wallet's owner called. "What's your name?" The homeless man hesitated for a second, then replied, "My name's Joe." "Well, Joe," the man said, "you've done something incredible today. Please come inside. Let me at least offer you some food and a place to rest." Joe was taken aback by the kindness in the man's voice. He hadn't expected this. Slowly, he stepped inside the warm house, and the man invited him to sit down at the dining table. In no time, the man's wife brought out a plate full of food. Joe ate like he hadn't eaten in days, savoring every bite. After the meal, the man sat down with Joe and asked about his life. Joe told him everything: how he had lost his job, fallen on hard times, and ended up living on the streets. The man listened carefully, his expression full of sympathy. When Joe finished his story, the man smiled warmly. "Joe," he said, "you showed great honesty today. You had every reason to keep the money, but you chose to do the right thing. I believe people like you deserve a second chance." Joe looked down at the table, unsure of what to say. The man leaned forward. "I run a small business, and we're always looking for good people. How about I offer you a job?" Joe's eyes widened. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "A job? For me?" "Yes," the man said with a nod. "It won't be easy, but I think you have what it takes. And while you're working with us, we'll help you find a place to stay." Tears welled up in Joe's eyes. For the first time in a long while, he felt hope. "Thank you," Joe whispered, his voice trembling with emotion. "I won't let you down." The man smiled. "I know you won't." And just like that, Joe's life began to change. With the new job, he slowly got back on his feet. He found a small apartment to call home and saved enough money to buy clean clothes and food every day. But more than anything, Joe was grateful that he had chosen honesty over temptation that day. In the end, returning the wallet not only helped the man who lost it, it gave Joe a new beginning. And from that moment on, Joe vowed to always help others, just as someone had helped him when he needed it the most.